So if I give you this text here, right? Text 1 here. It's got a lot of stuff in here, and you can see it's got some email addresses just embedded in there. So anybody have an idea of what might I do first if I'm wanting to get the email addresses out of there? What are you doing with your eyes? As I'm scrolling through this, you're actually doing something that would mimic what the code should do. You look at the first word. The first word is in. Is that an email address? Is there any chance it's an email address? No, we just throw it away, right? Then you go to the next word, publishing. Email address? Hard pass. Get rid of it. We just keep going. And what's your eye looking for? You're looking for words that have an @ sign in the middle of them, right? That's what you're really scanning for, is that @ sign. If there's an @ sign, then maybe it's an email address, right? So the first thing I would do is, if I'm looking for email addresses in this pile of text garbage, is I'm going to go one word at a time, and I'm going to say, might this be an email address? If so, I'm going to keep it. If not, I'm just going to move on. So there's a way to code that, and I'm not going to code it as a function. I'm just going to straight code it with that text. But here's how I would do it. I would say li text. How do I go word by word? I use split. So I'm going to say strtext1 dot split, and that's going to give me a list right? When I run that, now I have a list of things, right? So, and I can go through each word, and I can say, does this have an @ sign in it? How do I do that? I'm going to say for str word in li text, and I'm going to say if str word find at is equal to -1. -1? But Bill, I thought find returned an index. I thought this returned the index of where that character is. It does, unless it doesn't find anything. If it doesn't find anything, it gives you a -1. So every time it finds a word that does not have that, we know it's not an email address. But if I want to find out if it is an email address, then I would say it's not equal to -1, which means it found an @ symbol somewhere in that word. Print, and I'm just going to have it print the word. So it's going to go through. First thing it's going to do is split strtext1 into words using the space. So now I have a list of all the words in that text. Now I'm going to go one word at a time for each word in that list. If it finds that and it's not equal to -1, meaning it found this somewhere, and it's going to give you the index of that. So it won't be -1, it'll be any other number. Then we're going to print that word. Watch what happens. There we go. Now I've got a list of all of the possible email addresses in that text. Now, it just so happens that this text, all of the possible email addresses are actually email addresses, and some of them are complete. Like this one and this one are good. This is good. Now we got a problem because I used space to split those words up, and if they have a character that's adjacent to them, I've got extra garbage. But this can't be part of the email address, because if I send an email to this address, including the parentheses, it won't work. So this is where I need to clean them up. I basically need to split it here, go one character at a time, and keep all of those. like I did when I cleaned out that Bakersfield College text with the garbage in it. Keep them in a different list or a different string. And then when I get to here, I stop because that's not a valid character. Same thing with this, not a valid character. So once I get those returned and cleaned up, there are three functions that I'm going to challenge you to do here, right? First, a function that takes a string as a parameter and returns a list of emails that are found in the string. Another function that removes duplicates in the list. How do we remove duplicates? We turn it into a set. And a last function that takes in a string and a list as input. So there's two parameters, a string and a list, and returns true or false depending on whether the string value is in the list or not. So we're going to use find to return a true or false on this one. You must do at least two of these functions, two of the three for the assignment. Okay. Now remember, none of this is super advanced in terms of the programming code. What makes this advanced is how you're going to use all of these simple building blocks together. The split, the join, the find, those kinds of things. The replace. So you go back, you can look at that Taylor Swift, the Lincoln versus Swift sandbox. There's some tips and some things in there that you might use and recycle. But I want to let you puzzle with this one for a little while. Okay? I will tell you that next week when we come back, I'm going to revisit this. And we're going to talk about that word that I mentioned a little earlier, algorithm, and what that means and how to use it. So we're going to revisit that algorithm that I talked about. But right now, start by breaking the text up and seeing if you can pull the potential email addresses.